Hello everyone, welcome to today's news chatter. Let's begin with the prelims practice question. Right, so take this question. Which of the following is correct with respect to cinematograph rules 2024? Cinematograph rules were changed in 2024 in which certain modifications were done. Whatever legislative or executive actions were done in 2024 or 2023 becomes important for your examination. So we need to know about it. Three statements are provided, very simple, very easy. If you have studied this particular rule, then it will be very easy to answer because it's a direct question. A member of the board shall hold office during the pleasure of the central government. Of course, it is correct because he is not appointed by the state government. Cinematograph Act is the same act all over the country. There is no modification for the state. So the members are also appointed by the central government. So first is correct. It stipulates that 50% of the members in the board shall be women. 50% for women is very high. Even if you have not studied it, you can get to know that it's very simple, very easy. Nowhere in any of the constitutional or statutory body we have provided 50% for women. It is 33%, that is 1/3. So this option is also wrong. It increased validity of the certificate from 10 to 20 years is not correct. They have increased it to perpetuity. So it will be forever. Why to keep you get a certificate for your movie and after 10 years you should renew it? That's not required. Once it is given forever. So the option here is one only. Infectious respiratory particles, very simple. We don't even have to explain it to a greater extent. When COVID happened, there was a big confusion on how would we describe it because it is a virus. Virus is considered as an intermediary between living organism and non-living organism. So such infectious diseases that spread with virus or some other different object in future, how can we classify it? So WHO, that is World Health Organization, has been doing research in it, has been consulting with multiple agencies, and finally they have come up with a conclusion. We will call it as infectious respiratory particles. It's not infectious respiratory living thing or non-living thing, infectious respiratory virus, bacteria, nothing. It's just infectious respiratory particle. Pathogens that transmit through air will be described as infectious respiratory particles. That's all. The World Health Body has thus ended the lack of a common terminology. Until now, there was no common terminology, but from now on, it will have a common terminology, that is infectious respiratory particle. That's all. It's a very simple thing, but for prelims, you might get a question too. Recently, today, if you see in news, it was there. Israel has retaliated against Iran. So any place, any important geographical feature in the Middle East is extremely important. Two important places are there. One is Gulf of Aden and Gulf of Hormuz. Gulf of Aden is here. Take a look at this. This year, it's extremely important. Gulf of Aden and Gulf of Hormuz. What exactly is a gulf? Gulf is a small region between two different water bodies. A small narrow opening that connects one water body to another water body. So if you see here, Red Sea is one water body. It is having a small gulf called as Gulf of Aden, and it is opening to Arabian Sea. Here, Gulf of Hormuz, it connects the Persian Gulf, Persian Sea to the Arabian Sea. Why Gulf of Hormuz is extremely important? Because it is in Iran we have the Chabahar port. In this particular place, we have Chabahar port. Chabahar port is built by India. And if the war continues, if there is a full blown out war between Israel and Iran, in such case, what will happen? Iran may tell that we are closing down the entire Persian Gulf. Or Iran might tell that whatever ship crosses this region will be taken over by Iran if it has some Israeli connection. So in such case, India's economy will also be impacted. India do get petroleum products from Iran, so that will be affected very badly. Global instability will be there. Oil prices will hit high. So all these things will result in high amount of inflation in India. it is a very big problem. So Iran, its borders, you should be knowing. And apart from that, Strait of Hormuz is located here between Iran, United Arab Emirates, and Oman. It opens the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Ocean. When we talk about Gulf of Aden, it is located here between Yemen and the African continent, Ethiopia and other countries. And it opens the Red Sea to the Arabian Sea. Israel, of course, we have talked about it. We have studied it multiple times. What are the borders of Israel? And which ocean, which sea it opens to? Mediterranean Sea. That is very important. It borders Jordan, Syria, and here a small country known as Lebanon is there. It borders Lebanon also. So these things you should be knowing. Take the map of Middle East and study it completely. Decline in private investment in India. Private investment has been declined in India from 2011 itself. In 2008, the global subprime crisis happened, and after that, the private investment never hit high. In 1990, when we did reforms in the 1990s, private investment increased very high in India. In the 1990s, private investment reached its peak. By the early 2000, it reached its peak. Means more businesses are starting in India. People are ready to invest because they think that Indian economy is good. But after 2011, private investment never hit that peak. So this is a big problem in India. India's growth has been pushed by the public capex expenditure, not by private expenditure. India's private investment increased to 10 percentage of GDP. It was in 10 percentage of GDP in 1980s. It increased to 27 percentage by 2008. 27 percentage. Later, it again went down. Now it is at 19 percentage in 2020. So it is in the mid range, and 19 percentage is fine, but it should be at 30 percentage is what economists generally tell. To increase private investment, what measures government has done? Government has uh, improved ease of doing business. Government has digitized all the governmental websites. The government has it has been trying to reduce bureaucratic retapism. These things are happening. It has even reduced the corporate tax, which was 30 percentage. Earlier, it slashed it to 22 percentage, which is a great reform. But even then, private investment is not increasing. So why it is not increasing? The reason is simple: low private consumption expenditure. People are not spending. Private people, the public in the country, are not ready to spend a lot of money. They are not ready to purchase new houses. They are not ready to purchase new electronic goods. They are not ready to purchase new cars, automobiles, etc. because there is a lack of trust. There is a very big confusion about the future of the global economy, future of Indian economy also. So this is one big reason. Why do we have to concentrate on capital expenditure of the private? Because of this factor, that is gross fixed capital formation. You might have studied about it in economy. What is gross fixed capital formation? It is when people invest more in infrastructure and fixed capital, that is machinery infrastructure. If they are investing, that is fixed capital expenditure, and because of this, more growth will happen, more jobs will come, people will get more money, more export happens, and it is because of this reason we need to invest, we need to focus on private investments also. IMF has recently told that India should invest more in health and education. Certain important facts which you can use in your answer, that's all. They have told that India should invest more in health and education because India has very big youth population. It will help in tapping on the demographic dividend of the country, because of which we will grow. We have 15 million people added to the labor force every year, but our unemployment is very high. Especially among the youth, the unemployment is very high. Among the educated youth, the unemployment is very high. So these problems are there. And IMF has also told that India will grow to 6.8 percentage in 2025, and it will reach 7 percentage also by 2030. It is what IMF has told. So growth potential is there. Let us try to tap our youth. Let us try to give them more jobs. This is a potential topic for prelims this year. Gold prices and US dollar and crude. How does prices of crude oil, gold prices and US dollar change with respect to each other? Very simple. Gold is a physical object. Gold is a trusted mode of investment. US dollar, its value keeps changing according to the trade that is happening between US and other countries and the inflation and the economic status of United States of America. So there is a direct relationship between global prices of crude oil and gold. Direct relation. Whenever crude oil prices increases, gold price will also increase. And there is an inverse relationship between US dollar and gold. Whenever US dollar decreases, gold will increase. Why is it like this? Very simple, very easy. Just listen to me. Gold price is based on US dollar. That is when you are purchasing internationally. Internationally, whenever someone is purchasing gold, they purchase in dollar. So gold value is directly dependent on dollar. But whenever dollar value reduces, whenever dollar is in depreciation, that means the same amount of gold you can get in less amount of dollars. If dollar is very strong, you can get the same amount of gold in higher value of dollar. Whenever dollar value reduces, that is when it depreciates, you can get the same amount of gold in lesser value of dollar. So this is why dollar and gold are inversely proportional. Why it is directly proportional to crude? Whenever crude oil value increases, gold value will also increase. Reason is simple. When crude oil is increasing, that means there is inflation all over the world. Whenever crude oil increases, crude oil is something which is very important for the entire world. So when crude oil is increasing, that means there is inflation all over the world. Whenever there is inflation, people will trust gold because gold is a hedge. Whenever there is inflation, that means the currencies all over the world are depreciating. Whenever currencies are depreciating, why would people have currency as a saving? If Indian currency, if Indian rupees value is depreciating, would you have rupee as your savings? It would be better to invest in gold. So demand for gold will be increasing. So this is the simple concept. Apart from that, in the recent times, it has been increasing because of certain reasons. Central banks are investing more in gold because of the global problems, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, and Israel, Iran, these kind of problems show that there is a high scope of a very big blown out war in future. So, in order to be safe, countries such as China, Russia are investing too much in gold. This is increasing the demand. Apart from that, people who are investors, they are also depending more on gold because of inflation, because of depreciating the currency value. So due to this, demand is increasing. One important point which is important for your prelims, recently DRDO tested a long-range subsonic indigenously developed cruise missile, not a ballistic missile. Ballistic missiles, we are already very good in the technology. We have good amount of ballistic missiles, long range, short range, everything. But cruise missile, we have BrahMos, which was developed by India and Russia together. Now, Indian government, with the help of DRDO, has developed a long range but subsonic cruise missile. Subsonic is the missile which travels at a speed which is lesser than the speed of sound. So they have testified it and they have also told that it is functioning very well. It has shown its efficiency. The most important point here is sea skimming flight. It has performed sea skimming flight. Sea skimming flight means if the surface of the sea is like this, then the missile will travel at a very short altitude from the surface of the ocean. Why do it do like this? Because if it is traveling at a greater height, there is a very high chance of hitting the radar. So if some other country is monitoring India, in that case, if it is flying at a higher altitude, there is a high chance that radar will capture. But if it is traveling at a surface which is very small altitude from the ocean surface, then it is almost impossible for the radar to find out. So this missile, even though it is subsonic, it has a sea skimming flight. So because of this, it is highly efficient. One more point which you need to remember is Gas Turbine Research Establishment. It has worked on the indigenous propulsion system. Gas Turbine Research Establishment is in Bengaluru. So these are all the points in today's newspaper which you need to remember for the upcoming examination. That will be all for today. All the best. Let's meet tomorrow.